for plant dying,
I'm going to record
she
it
would,
now because we're sort of...
yeah, she was able to sense it. She was quite a very sensitive human being. So there was a lot of stuff that I would have loved to have learned from her. You know, yes, I'm advanced in some ways, but she was way advanced in other ways of plant knowledge. So yeah, I feel very blessed to be in her, you know, to be in her shoes in this network. Well, in this network as a whole.
Yeah.
Very, very
She was like
lovely.
an empath. What I'm hearing is she was an empath. She could
Yeah.
feel what was going on for people, which also was a problem for her, because if someone was depressed or upset or having trouble, she could feel all that and take it on herself. She didn't know how to put up boundaries.
Yeah.
But also it sounds like she was an empath with plants too. She could sense into them.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting, because there's a lot of research to show plants are conscious, intelligent beings, you know, trees especially. And that's some of that is research that we could do, you know, we could get people doing. Well, look, I think we should start. I don't know where everyone's gone. Maybe
you asked where my beginnings were over 20 years ago with Geoffrey, our beloved founder.
Yes.
Who we miss so much.
So, yes, I mean, we've had two deaths in this, Geoffrey and now Sophie. It's ridiculous. I'm sure they're together in a special part of the heavenly gardens.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
And so that's my history. So I'm honored to be part of it. And,
well, I think without Frederick, it wouldn't have kept going, because when Geoffrey set it up, Frederick was the person who had time and ability to help him. I was busy off with my academic stuff and peace studies, and Frederick kept Geoffrey going until right at the end when he took ill, didn't he? And you went to the Isle of Man together, and he had an accident, and you know, it's very sad, but you know, he had a noble and dignified death. Nicola helped him through that. He left a bit of financial chaos. He should have left some money to the network.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, someone muscled in, turned up using fake ID, and stole the $7,000 from the bank account that should be ours.
No, 20,000.
Well, some thousands that we don't quite know the full amount. So, you know, we're still trying to chase up what happened to all that. And his nephew, who he left, who's got probate of Geoffrey's legacy, has not come back to our meetings to say what's happened and, you know, did he get any money and all that. So it's like Justin Gale is now run off. So anyway, hey, you know, we don't need money. We can raise it. This is our plan. Let's be optimistic. These people must have desperately needed it.
How difficult will it be to register the network as a charitable cause under French law?
Oh, under French law. Well, look, here's Pyrrhus. He's our treasurer. He can tell us what he thinks about that. He's joining us from Athens. I mean, in theory, not difficult. In practice, of course, anything to do with the French state involves endless correspondence, paperwork, checking and rechecking and all that.
Kalispera, Pyrrhus.
Yes, sorry I'm late. I forgot.
Oh, dear. Well, that's a good excuse.
I did, yeah.
In this heat, I mean, what's the temperature in Athens?
It's 33 centigrade, but because of the air conditioning units and the cars, in the heart of the city, it's about 40.
Ah, well, it's not too bad. It's 38 here in Patette in France.
Yeah.
So it's about the same, really, isn't it? It is hot.
Yeah.
But anyway, welcome. We were just starting, really. And Frederick was asking, should we register the World Peace Gardens as a charity in France? I was saying, we'll ask you for your advice.
I think it would be a good idea to do that, because we can make applications better. We can make funding applications better in that way.
Well, will you help me through it? Because it'll be paperwork and endless forms and all that. I'm happy to do it. We can use my address in France.
Yeah.
We can open a bank account and all that.
The problem, I don't know about France. In Greece, in Greek law, getting it registered in Greece is such a drag.
I think it's quite straightforward in France. Friends of mine have told me, I mean, I can tell you this little inside gossip knowledge. I belong to the Liberal Democrat political party in France, National Committee. I mean, really radical, you know, like we actually want Britain to rejoin the EU and end
fine,
racism
fine.
and all that. And they registered with French law as like a charitable thing. And so I know the people that did that, they got it through, and it's done on a departmental basis.
Well, my advice then is when you see them next is to ask a few questions.
Yeah, I can.
About doing that.
I'm in touch with them.
In Greece, to register it's a palaver. Also, they tax you quite a fair bit.
Yeah, that's something to take into account. So look, I'll do some finding out. I mean, we are at the moment happily chugging along as a non-registered charity. We are in British law allowed to do that. We have our bank account in Totnes as an unregistered charity because our total income is less than £5,000. If somebody gives us 100 grand, we then have to register as a charity in Britain, which we can do. It's, I mean, I sit on the board of several charities in Britain.
I believe in Britain, it's not difficult.
No, it's quite straightforward.
It's all right, yeah.
Yeah. So it's just, you know.
Talking about donations.
Sorry?
Talking about donation, did you receive my little donation the other day? Have you looked at the website? I
haven't yet recently looked into the bank. Did you put it direct into the bank account? Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Okay, well, that's very kind of you. I haven't. I will go online and have a look at that. I haven't yet done it, and I have to inform them Sophie's dead because she's on the, you know, the network as our secretary. I'm going to change that, obviously. But when I discussed it with Sally, we thought we would not put her address in Saltdene as the charitable of the trust address because she may be moving from there in the next 6 months or so. She can tell us about that in a minute. And so I think it's best to have my permanent address as the trust's address, which is in Worthing at my sister's house, and that's a permanent address. It'll be there as long as we live, you know. She has a little house in Worthing which she bought with our parents' money when my mother died. So that's my bank address in Britain. So it can go there, the official trust, but we'll come back. I'll let you know. Okay, we're being joined by a friend from Bethlehem, which is very nice, Mazin, who runs.
Salam alaikum. Shalom.
He runs the Bethlehem sort of peace, you know, peace garden, botanical museum. I was telling Sally he knows more about plants in Palestine than anyone else I know. Mazin, welcome.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Thank you.
Welcome. Good to see you. Is it hot there? We've been discussing temperatures. It's all very hot.
Yes, it's terribly hot and dusty. Lots of dust coming from the desert. Desertification is spreading here. Climate change is coming at us with a vengeance. And
yes, it's happening
very
all over
hard
Europe.
to keep plants alive in the garden.
Yes, you have a big garden there, don't you, in Bethlehem, of rare plants and stuff. So
we have this botanic garden, community garden, and it's very difficult to maintain now, especially since Israel also cut the water that they used to allow to flow to us. They cut it in more than half, actually, to Hebron and Bethlehem area. And we are fortunate in some level because there's no tourists in Bethlehem because of the war. Tourists use a lot of water in their hotels and things like that. So the economy is slow. There's so less usage of water. But still, many people are going thirsty.
Sorry to hear all that. No, that's our hearts are with you. Right, let me do my chairman's report and just quickly get through this, and then we can. There are other things we can talk through. So yes, I wanted to just say welcome to everyone, and I've been dealing with the death of my daughter, Sophia, who died totally unexpectedly. She was our secretary, and she was a beautiful young woman of 37 who I gave a talk in her funeral on May the 30th. My vision is to build a peace garden in her honor here in La Creuse in the middle of France, where you can buy really cheap property for a few €1,000. You can get, you know, a huge garden space. So that's on my list. And I know that Sophie wanted that. She was going to come and live here and do that with me. Now she has to come out of body, which is a real pain. And thanks to Sally, who's here stepping into Sophie's shoes, we managed to get some of her beautiful objects back here to France. She left a lifetime of collecting books, pictures, clothes, all kinds of objets d'art. You know, her flat in Brighton was like a temple. She was a universal mystic, a Christian, a Buddhist, a yogini, you know, you name it. And she was just a very, very beautiful soul. Anyway, meanwhile, when I was in Britain, I was peeing blood and I was given a cancer diagnosis. So I thought I was going to die. Like, on top of losing my daughter, then I'm told, you got cancer, mate, you know. But fortunately, I got it. It's a miracle. I must have good guardian angels. I got an appointment in the hospital, like, you know, within 2 weeks, and they took it out and it's all gone, and I'm now declared cancer-free. So I'm seeing the praises of Britain's scientific medical doctors who've saved my life, possibly for another 20 years of troublemaking. Thank God for that. I just also published 2 volumes of the Gospels. I did a huge commentary on the Gospel of St. Matthew, the first of the major Gospels. And I published it on the very day we discovered my daughter's dead body in her flat in Brighton. It's such a tragedy here. And then I've published since then the Gospel of St. Mark commentary. And I'm working through them, you know, Luke, John, but I'm also going to do Thomas, the Gnostic Gospel, and Mary Magdalene. So there's 6 Gospels. I have written the commentaries. I just have to like type them up and edit them and add the footnotes. So yes, what else? So I wanted to say something about, obviously we can talk about it in a bit more detail, but the tragedies of Palestine and Gaza and the Israel behavior. I listened to the Palestinian ambassador to the UN. He gave a brilliant speech the other day. I've been racking my brains, you know, what can I help as a peace activist from Europe? What can we do as the World Peace Gardens Network and so on? So I think when Geoffrey founded the World Peace Gardens Network, it was a much gentler world. You know, we had this lovely utopian vision of peace gardens everywhere. But now we're living in a mad world where several states have gone utterly rogue. I would say Russia and Israel and America are behaving as if there's no international morality. You know, they are the last, you know, they can do what they want. So I've thought up this project called the Solomon Option. I've long been a fan of Solomon as a symbolic reconciler of Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. I've been to the Temple Mount. I've sat, you know, there and meditated on all this. And I set up the Truth and Reconciliation Commission for the Middle East. I think, and I made a talk to an African peace group since we last met, suggesting the Solomon Option instead of the Samson Option. The Samson Option is the Israeli Defense Force thing, whereby they kill everyone rather than let anyone be captured as a hostage, based on Samson bringing down the Temple of Dagon in Gaza, actually. That's biblical. Well, the Samson Option leaves everyone dead. And nuclear deterrence is a kind of Samson Option. You know, if you attack us, we'll destroy you. You can destroy us and we'll all be dead. I'm saying, no, at the 11th hour, let's change this script to the Solomon Option, which is we apply wisdom and love to the Middle East and to other wars, Ukraine, Russia. And I recorded a talk, which was, you know, 2 talks. One was to camera, one was at this webinar. And I suggest linking the Ukraine-Russia conflict with the Palestinian-Israel conflict, sort of solving them both at once. And this has been sent out to many different news organizations. And if Mazin, if you have suggestions for Palestinian news organizations that I can send it to, you know, I'd be happy to send a press release that I just did. And also last night I was up till midnight sending it to 60 UN ambassadors, which that's gone, you know. So so that's been, you know, that's what I've been up to. Just the other thing to say is I'm about to publish another book, which I've been working on, called The Logic of Peace. As a philosopher, I was never really interested in logic when I first studied philosophy, but now I am. Logic is so important because what the world's doing is so illogical. I'm a fan of Aristotle. I'm a fan of, and I've done a lot of research on Islamic, Jewish, Christian logic traditions, most of which goes back to Aristotle, and then they've augmented it. So Ibn Rushd, the great Islamic philosopher, he was a fan of Aristotle. So was Maimonides, greatest Jewish philosopher. So was Thomas Aquinas, the greatest Christian philosopher. So why on earth are they all killing each other? I'm saying let's have a new logic of peace. And I'm about to publish this book. I finished it today. It's the first of 2 volumes. So that's my report. And so I've been quite busy, as you can see. And I just did something fun because I use AI quite a lot. I like AI. I asked AI, I use something called Copilot, how many books I've written, because people keep asking me, have you've written lots of books, how many? And I say about 60. But I put them all into the AI thing. I said, can you count up the number of volumes I've actually written, please? Because some of these books are like 4, 5, 6, 7 volumes. Each one, like my book, Being a Knowledge, is like 10 volumes, right? So I said, count up the number of volumes that I've written. And it came back with a figure of 135. So the 60, when I say about 60, no, it's about 130 I've written. But hey, you know, I'm an intellectual and a writer and a scholar. That's like, for me, that's what I do. So that's my report. And let's move on then. Who wants to go next? Frederick, why don't we have the patrons report? Tell us about what you've been doing for the World Peace Gardens and for peace generally.
Making connections for us.
Tell us about them. Yeah.
Well, let's see. I was in Brighton actually, and I took the number. Sally will know this. I took the number 9 bus. You know where the number 9 bus goes, don't you? Saltdean.
Seriously?
Yes. My co-executive producer lives in Rottingdean Village. Do you know Rottingdean?
Yes. I know it well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it well. Yeah, just up the road. Just up the road. Yeah. It's very beautiful. Yeah.
Brighton has a peace statue, isn't it?
Yeah. Between Brighton and Hove.
Yeah, that's right. And is there an existence of a peace garden in that area at all?
Well, that's something Sally and I have been discussing, whether we could have one in Stanmer. Do you want to just talk about that, Sally, for a bit?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of, you know, I'd have to talk to a lot of people. There's an area where I work, which is called Stam Organics, and it's a cooperative organization that run this piece of land where there's various allotments with, there's a stonemason, there's a herbalist, there's a sauna, there was a beekeeper, then I have a forest school there, and so there's lots of space there and potential scope for a garden. It would, there's also the Earthship, the Brighton Earthship, which I was involved. It's a sustainable house made out of tires, which myself and my partner, well, actually my partner built it. And we were very involved with that. Went to America for 8 months and learned how to build them. So, so there's a potential scope in Stanmer Park, but you know, I was also thinking about something a little bit more central, because there's also East Brighton Park, where I know somebody there who has a cafe, and it would be really lovely to have something there as well. So lots of food for thought, definitely.
Good.
Good. Yeah.
So that basically my job has been emailing people, speaking to people on the phone, meeting people in person. Bradford may be interested in doing a peace garden near the University of Bradford. I was there and met the director for the peace.
And tell us, Frederick, about this lady who wanted to come. She's called, what is it? Like a prophetic name, like Tisalia or something. Who is that, and what's that about?
Chief Executive of Pathways to Peace.
Right.
A charitable cause in the United States.
Yes.
Caroline's joined us. Hello, Caroline. Nice to see you. Right. Yeah, Tezzy. I've written.
How do you know her, Frederick? Have you met her, or
no? I'm on the mailing list, and they keep me up to date about what the Pathways to Peace project is doing. They're doing fantastic work. So,
and has she indicated she would like to join or do a presentation?
No, this is the first time that I've involved yourself, and so she hasn't replied to the email yet. So I thought I'd hand it over to you as the chair of the organisation to make an invitation and have a connection with her.
Yeah. No, I'll follow that up, and if she wants to come to our next meeting and tell us about what she's doing, that would be lovely. That'd be great.
So basically, I'm just looking around the world, see what opportunities there are. I'm still pursuing the Los Angeles 28 connection, the Olympics.
Yes.
I'll keep Pyrrhus, as he's with us, informed, because with his connections with the Olympic Academy in Athens and people like that, he knows. So it's very important. And the Hippocrates project, are we still focusing on that as well with our worldwide thing involving Hippocrates?
Well, we haven't got funding, but Pyrrhus would love to bring that out of the cupboard.
I would, I would love to. Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
The Hippocratic thing is some of the people involved in it have now retired from the University on Agriculture and Earth Sciences, but there are people interested in the Ministry of Education. The problem is that we tend to fight each other. So we were able to get a garden together in the northern Peloponnese. We did a successful application, and then the mayor threw us all out, which is not very nice. So there's this. Yeah, these things seem to happen a lot here in Greece. So the whole Hippocratic thing is very current, but getting it all together is very, very difficult. But definitely, there is a Hippocratic garden on the island of Kos next to the
temple,
the hospital set up by Hippocrates, and the temple to the god
Asclepius. Yeah, I've been there.
So it's all there, and that was run by a firm called Apivita. So we're very pally with them, and just getting it together. The problem is some of the people are getting old, but no, definitely we'd love to revitalize it all.
Were you there at the Delphic Academy when we heard from that lovely man Paris, the theatre guy? Did you hear his talk?
Yes.
He's a real character, and he
sort of told me afterwards that he knew my old man.
Right.
But from years and years and years ago.
He's like a living museum in himself, this guy, Paris. He's in his 80s. He's a theatre guy, and he's like Mr. Apollo. He's been to Delphi and he's invoked the muses. But so if we want to do anything in Greece with Hippocrates,
absolutely,
he'd be the guy.
It's the thing is just getting the right moment.
Yes, and getting all the tumblers in the right format so the gate can open. It's like opening a lock. Okay, I've got a thing for you, Frederick, because you did at one point talk about Guernsey as a possible peace garden.
Yes.
I took part I do a monthly full moon ritual with Sophie's friends. And this last full moon, we did one run from something called the Boomtown Festival in Winchester, which is for all the youngsters doing their, their dancing music and sort of green networking, right? Anyway, somebody who joined that call lives on Guernsey, because the woman that runs it all, Jolie, who was one of Sophie's best friends, opened the festival with 60,000 people doing a sort of magic ritual for peace. And this woman who I met has just moved into Guernsey opposite Victor Hugo's house and museum.
Oh, good.
Now, Victor Hugo lived there in exile. It's where he wrote Les Miserables.
That's right.
And it's got a garden in the museum.
Yeah.
And I'm going to, through her, I'm going to suggest she approaches, I mean, literally walks over the road and talks to them. Would they like Victor Hugo's garden to become part of our World Peace Gardens network? Because he was a peace activist, Victor Hugo, very important one.
Yeah.
And he planted an oak tree for peace, which is in the museum garden, right?
I've seen it.
So I don't think they're going to say no. And I just wanted to tell you that's good news. Through a contact,
Okay.
we're going to get this thing, launched.
A friend of mine
Guernsey.
has moved to Guernsey. He made a very nice sum of money on a property deal, a couple of million quid, and that was enough to convince the authorities that he's allowed to move to Guernsey from the UK. He used to live in Derbyshire, so he's got a very nice pad.
Well, maybe he'd like to be
where I can
involved.
Stay. Yes,
yeah.
I'm seeing him on Thursday.
Okay, well, tell him about the Victor Hugo house. This is happening. Can he be in touch with me and all that? All right.
Yeah. Okay.
That'd be great. Okay. Why don't we go to Mazin now, because his internet's been restored. I want to have what we call the Palestinian report. It's important for us because we're all, biting our nails. Mazin, tell us how you're faring in your little oasis. I mean, you said you're lacking water, but give us an update on what's happening in Gaza that you know about. It's shocking, isn't it?
Thank you, Thomas. Yes, I really was touched by your words about your daughter, and we will plant a tree in her honor in our garden. We're developing a peace garden. We're going to be planting some trees, and we have this idea actually to plant a tree for every martyr who was killed
in Gaza.
Over 40,000 now, yes?
There has been about
60,000 is the new figure.
People. Yeah. 500,000 people. I'm trying now to collect all the... Well, the Gaza official figures from the health ministry is that 61,500 people have been registered as dead, meaning they arrived to the hospitals, bodies, and were registered and issued death certificates. But there are tens of thousands of missing people who don't have death certificates. And one study in the Lancet newspaper, Lancet magazine, reported estimate of upward to 200 to 250,000 Palestinians who were killed in the Gaza Strip since October 2023. But I'm talking about since 1948. If you add up the number, it's going to be more than 500,000 people killed. So imagine if we could plant 500,000 trees, 500,000 trees. I think that would be quite a gesture of hope and empowerment and strength, I think. So this is a dream that we can have, and we can start working on it.
I know someone in Britain called Rowena Stone, whose father used to run the Palestinian forestry department when it was part of the British Mandate back in the 30s. who runs the Palestinian like forestry department now? Do you have one?
Well, no. No, the Ministry of Agriculture, so-called Ministry of Agriculture, they have their own nurseries. They produce trees, and they have
Ramallah.
planted a lot of trees.
Yeah.
But the
Ramallah.
Palestinian Authority, based in Ramallah, but the Palestinian Authority is really not in a position to do very much, since it's basically Vichy government under the control of Israel and the US, who allowed them to continue by, as long as they serve their function of suppressing resistance. So Palestinian Authority has been calling for disarming resistance groups like Hamas and Islamic Jihad and the Popular Front for Liberation of Palestine. But anyway, that Palestinian Authority is pretty much, with the very few exceptions. You mentioned, I think, speech by the Palestinian UN representative.
Yeah.
He's pretty good, Riyad Mansour, I know him.
Right.
There's Hussam Zumlot in London, ambassador. He's pretty good. But those are the exceptions that kind of prove the rule of the corruption of the Palestinian Authority and its relative uselessness.
Oh dear, that's terrible. Do you know Afif Safieh? Is he still alive? He was the ambassador.
Afif was actually removed from the Palestinian diplomatic functioning corps because he criticizes certain aspects of the authority, and because he refused to go along with their corruption. So they basically.
So is he working in academia now? What's he doing? He's a very brilliant man.
He's he gets his salary still from the Palestinian Authority, essentially as a diplomat without portfolio, as they say, meaning that you don't have a position, but you get your salary.
Okay. So is he in Palestine or in the States or where?
No, he's, I think, in the Netherlands. His wife, I think, is from Holland or some Scandinavian country. So
I'd like to be in touch with him because we got on very well. He came to a meeting I ran in Parliament on all this nonsense.
I'd be happy to put you in touch with him.
Yeah, please do. Yeah. And yes, so okay. Well, what else? Yeah, I've just finished reading a brilliant book I recommend to anybody that's on this call, called Palestine, The History of the Last 4,000 Years, by a British Palestinian academic who teaches at the University of London, where I studied and taught, called Masalha. And he is, have you read that book, Azim? Do you know about it?
Yes. Yes, it's a good book, and it's available in Arabic and in English.
Is it in Arabic already? Great.
Yes.
Is it in Hebrew? Because they should read it.
Yeah, they should. I don't think it's available in Hebrew.
Because I keep getting people ghosting me on my Facebook and elsewhere saying, no, there's no such thing as Palestine. It doesn't exist. It was all made up later by the KGB. You know, this book says, no, hang on, it's at least 4,000 years old, documents the use of the term way back. I mean, it's an ancient culture. And I learned so much from that book that I just think everyone ought to read it. I mean, it's great to go and march in London and hold up banners, Free Palestine, but it's an intellectual struggle, this, as well. And if we're going to get a two-state solution with two vibrant, healthy, peace-loving nations able to live side by side, which is my dream, then every Israeli should read this book about the history of Palestine. It's just,
how can you bring? Somebody asked me a question. How can you bring a fractured country together with a two-state solution? You've got Nazin, who's in Bethlehem. How far away is Bethlehem from Ramallah? And how far away is Ramallah from Gaza City? So It's all over the place.
Well, there are solutions to that. And ironically, old Trump and Netanyahu proposed a railway line be built between Gaza and the West Bank. This was in a peace treaty they put forward a few years ago, and I wrote a detailed commentary on that, a critique of it. I still think that's a good idea, a railway connecting the two.
Dr. Thomas, if I may interject here.
Sure.
I wrote a book called Sharing the Land of Canaan. If you want, it's available on my website, free. You can read it there on
Okay, Sharing the Land of Canaan.
Qumsiyya.org is my website. You can read it there. You don't have to buy it. I wrote it over 20 years ago, in which I explained why there is no such thing as a two-state solution to a colonial, anti-colonial struggle, that this is a delusion or an illusion, but not a solution.
Yeah.
And I explained this succinctly in 300-page book. It's actually, when I wrote it, was 600 pages, and I had to cut it down because the editor told me at Pluto Press said, no, you have to have it down. So anyways, bottom line is there's no possibility of a two-state solution here ever.
No.
Please put it out of your mind. This is all a propaganda effort that was initiated by Ben-Gurion in the 1920s to basically keep talking about two states, which is what many governments now do to avoid international law and avoid human rights and avoid right of Palestinian refugees to return, to avoid a number of things, but not to arrive at a solution. Colonial, anti-colonial struggles end in one of three possible ways. There's the way that happened in Algeria, where 1 million French packed their bags and went to Europe. I don't say back to Europe because they were there for 6 or 7 generations. It was very traumatic, killed some 2 million Algerians, but they had to go. And that's one scenario, very, very rare. A second scenario is the genocide scenario, which is what happened in the United States and in Australia, where you kill off most of the indigenous people, leaving very few quote-unquote manageable population. And the third scenario, which is the most common scenario, since scenario 1 and 2 are very, very rare. And the third scenario, that's where the descendants of the colonizers and the descendants of the colonized live in one country. This happened in all the rest of the world, 160 to 170 countries by my count. That includes all of South America, Central America, Caribbean islands, Mexico, Canada, all of Europe, all of Asia, most of Africa. This is the scenario that's going to happen here, and it's inevitable. Unless, of course, Israel succeeds in killing us off in the genocide that they are perpetuating, but I doubt that they will succeed.
Well, thank you for setting out those three
There's no fourth scenario.
Yeah.
Never, show me an example in history where there was a colonial, anti-colonial struggle that ended with two-state solution, dividing a country between colonizers.
What about India, Pakistan, West Pakistan, East Pakistan? What was that?
Sorry, which one?
India, the Indian subcontinent, it split into several states. The British Raj became several states.
Yeah, but that's not Pakistan and India, for example. That's not colonizers and colonized. The country was split, and some Muslims were kicked to the north and Hindus were kicked to the south, but they're both indigenous people to the country. This was not splitting a country between the British and the indigenous people of India.
No, I hear what you're saying. it's a really complicated discussion. We probably don't have time to do it justice.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
I
I
mean,
think what my interjection is, I think the British, before they handed over the territory to the Jewish population, they did
Yeah.
not sit down around a table and have a discussion beforehand, before the handover.
Well, the whole thing was a total mess. I think.
Total mess.
I mean, the British only had a mandate. I don't think it was ever the British idea to colonize that permanently, which is why the colonizer versus colonized kind of metaphor is more complicated, because our mistake, and I've been inspired by this book I've just been listening to. I've been researching the history of Christian Zionism, a chap called Lord Shaftesbury and others, who thought as Christians that it would bring about the second coming if the Jews went back to Palestine and set up their own state. So they thought they had a God-given duty to do Christian Zionism. They hoped the Jews would convert to Christianity. Of course, they didn't foresee that the Jews, A, wouldn't, and B, would become, as pretty fierce and battle-hard people as you can find on the planet. That was never part of that vision. So I'm trying to reconstruct, like, is there anything can be salvaged from 19th century British ideas? Or do we just have to unthink, tear up the entire script and start again? And what do we mean by Zionism? There's millions and millions of questions here. As far as the World Peace Gardens Network goes, I mean, our solution is very simple. Let's all just plant more trees, as Mazin said. Let the World Peace Gardens thing adopt this idea of 1 tree per martyr. And let's include the Jewish martyrs. The numbers are obviously much smaller, but there are people that I mean, yeah.
I'd like to make an interjection. I think the World Peace Gardens could focus on Palestine and Israel, and that we can make that sort of
one of our
terms of reference.
Yeah, absolutely, it is.
So this idea that Nazim is doing, whatever Nazim does, he has my support.
Yeah, ditto.
Whatever you can refer to us now, as of today, in your meeting tomorrow morning, you can say to your pals in Palestine, to anybody who is there, I've got the support of this Peace Gardens Network, and I've got friends. I haven't spoken to them in years now in Jericho, and I also had friends in the Israeli Antiquities Authority, who, strangely enough, were opposed to Ariel Sharon and all of these walls and things and all of these wars, because being professional archaeologists, it's destroying the archaeology of ancient Israel. So
wars are bad for archaeology. I mean, I'm an archaeologist too.
In my view, I mean, as of now, we support any attempt to create peace. And I sent to you an email, Thomas, which I would like your commentary in your own time.
Yeah, okay? I will get
in
back
your
to
own time. But all of these little bits of threads and everything, as of now, we can say, right, we are all in favor of peace, regardless of, we could be Jewish, some of us, we could be Orthodox, or we could be Muslim.
Well, the most Orthodox are most against Netanyahu. What these extreme Zionists are doing,
because they're saying that if you look at the Old Testament, if you look at what the prophets say, he's breaking Jewish tradition, he's breaking Jewish law, and he's bringing a fourth damnation.
Yeah, so there's all kinds of interesting theological
there's all sorts of things going on there.
Yeah.
But I think as of now we can say, I propose to all of you that we support Nassim and all his work, and that he can.
Well, of course we do, but just to say the other thing before we move on to the next topic, I think Carolyn wants to get in a word, but I want to just say one thing, which is there's been a very important meeting in New York, co-sponsored by my president Macron and the Saudi government, which put the Palestine solution issue on the world agenda. they issued a declaration, which I've read. I've got a copy of it. It's on the internet. Now, the reason Mazin, may be somewhat different to you, why I do support at least the rhetoric of the two-state solution, is it's because that's what the international community is working with and run with. And I regard that as a stopping point on the road towards the eventual maybe one state that you're talking about. But, you know, at least we've got this declaration from Macron and New York, which is quite far-reaching and quite progressive. It's the most progressive pro-Palestinian diplomatic high-level document ever issued by the UN, in my opinion. And I think, you know, it's something. I mean, if we got a two-state solution, then eventually those two states could federate and become a federation of Israel and Palestine or something. I mean, I'm a federalist as well. But by having an independent state recognized in law as Palestine, and Britain and France are about to recognize it, which is hugely important, then all kinds of legal things open up to support people in Palestine. And in the Solomon option, I've proposed actually an intervention force, which is what the ambassador called for at the UN. You know, there's no point just recognizing an independent state and then letting it be bombed to smithereens. You have to back that up. Anyway, Carolyn, what was your point? You were gesturing.
I think you're helping to cover it. It's a simplistic question to Najim, who's essentially, he's a Palestinian scholar, really. He's
Mazin, yeah.
Nazim, you mentioned that you don't think a two-state solution would be the way to go. Can you give us any idea of what you would suggest? A one state, as Macron has, as Macron and possibility of the UK and others are suggesting.
Mazin, do you want to reply? What's your solution? How do we get to a one state from where we are here?
Well, I'm a scientist. I'm just telling you what had happened historically to the same kinds of struggles, colonial, anti-colonial struggles. When I see a patient, my background is medical genetics. When I see a patient and I identify the etiology, the cause, I tell the patient, if you get this therapy, 98% of patients end up like this. That's all I can say. It's not a wishful thinking. It's a statistical thing. So since 99% of colonial, anti-colonial struggles ended up in one country with descendants of colonizers and descendants of colonized living in one country, then on a probability basis, that's what's likely to happen here.
Right.
Excluding the other two possibilities, which is the genocide model, total genocide, like happened in the US or Australia, or the other model of Algeria, but that's very unlikely to happen. Probabilistically is near zero in our situation. So I'm just telling you what happened in history.
Right.
And I'm telling you there is no two-state solution. And if you want to know more about why there is no two-state quote-unquote solution, then you can read my book, Sharing the Land of Canaan, because it articulates the reasons why there is no two-state solution. You know, I give you just one example. If Thomas, you allow me to give an example of why it doesn't work as a two-state solution. When they were negotiating in the Oslo Accords, the PLO has accepted to negotiate towards what they thought would be a two-state solution. They delayed 5 items for negotiations after they created the Interim Palestinian Authority, which was supposed to be for 5 years. The 5 subjects that were going to be discussed in 5 years include refugees, settlements, statehood, Jerusalem, and water and natural resource issues. I'll take simplest one, water and natural resources. When they started negotiating, the Palestinians presented their position in an opening statement. The Israeli interrupted them and said, look, we have to begin with by agreeing on terminology. We can talk about Palestinian needs for water, but we can never talk about Palestinian rights to water. And you, the Palestinian delegation, mentioned 3 times the words Palestinian rights to water. That's not allowed in negotiations.
Huh.
Why would you not allow Palestinian rights to water? It's logical. Because if you accept my right to this spring of water here in Bethlehem, then what's the difference between that and my right to a spring of water in Jaffa or Haifa or what you now call Tel Aviv? So you cannot accept the rights of indigenous people to even 1 square meter or 1 spring or 1 land, because if you accept that as a colonizer, you delegitimize your colonization, so it cannot happen. That's why Israel would never accept that Palestinians have a right to live even in Ramallah, just Ramallah, which is now the seat of this.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's shocking, isn't it? And thank you for that illustration, because the Bible is full of water disputes and wells, and Jesus talks to people at wells. I mean, it's and I met a chap who worked at University College. We had a conference at the University of London back in the 90s on water in Jerusalem and the management of it. So, you know, and I met Saida Nasabi there, Palestinian sister of Sari Nasabi, who was rector of the University of East Jerusalem, a great philosopher, actually. So, but no, those are very important points about even something as simple as water is contested, and the question of rights. My only comment here before we move on is that I think the young generation have got the answer. I had a couple of people come around my museum the other day. I have both a Palestinian and an Israeli flag outside my museum here, as I have from all different nations. And it was 3 Israelis who live in France and Israel came round. And the youngster is part of a group called Standing Together, the young man, he's in his 20s. And they saw that it's a peace museum. They wanted to come have a look around. And he was saying that he's part of this younger generation, don't want the war. They want to stand with their Palestinian brothers and sisters, whatever their religion or ethnicity. And it's a growing thing among the youngsters, rejecting the old colonial mentality and the patriarchal war mindset. And so I think this is where ecological consciousness comes in. People like my daughter, Sophia, and Sally and others, we don't want to perpetuate the old battles. What they want is to go and sit by a tree, download the consciousness of the plant's wisdom. You see, a plant doesn't know if it's Palestinian or Israeli or Lebanese or Iranian. The plant is itself, it's its own sovereignty. Yeah. And I think we should tune in more to that. That's our role as the World Peace Gardens. We should be tuning into the ecological consciousness of nature, from which we can grow out of our nationalism. So I think that's kind of where we could be, and that's the sort of educational work we should be doing at World Peace Gardens around the planet, including, Mazin, if you'll let us, if we can try and, you know, set up a training course, Sally can come and teach kids there. You know, that would be lovely if that's possible, about this ecological transcendental consciousness that transcends, you know, these wars. So anyway, we've been joined by our friend from Norway, Inga Mette. She's only an hour late. That's great. Hello, Inga Mette.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello. Only 1 hour, precisely 1 hour late.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. We've been having a good old chat. Iris, go for it.
I'm involved in a project called From Resistance to European Integration. It's one of these European funded projects.
Right.
And I'm persuading Palestinians in Iranians and others to write their experiences with what's happened here in Europe and how they are dealing with racialism or what have you, and how these so-called European values apply or do not apply. And I'm going to investigate if there is any possibility to ask one of you guys perhaps to also be a contributor. I'll
Sure.
see if I can get you paid. The budget I've got is full of strings. Yeah.
Well, we love strings.
The problem with the budget is that we can spend money on hotels and flights to Vienna, but I can't spend it very much on asking people to write articles. Now, the way I'm doing it, because the people that are writing, they're not fluent English speakers, but you, Thomas, are. What I'm doing, I'm writing a script. I'm saying, these are the questions. We figure out the questions and I interview them, and then we write it down, and then I help them.
It's really important work.
Yeah. So I will see maybe in September after the visit to Rome, because obviously in Italy they had fascism. The project involves Portugal, which had Antonio Salazar. Do not underestimate how violently fascist Salazar was. I mean, he had a photograph of Benito Mussolini on his desk.
Sure, sure. No, he was
Benito Mussolini.
hardcore believer. They all were.
We had the junta in Greece, which is fascinating because the junta were all Nazis in Hitler's death squads killing Jews, and then violent pro-Zionists. Try and figure that one out.
Oh, did they all become violent pro-Zionists after?
Yeah, they considered Israel to be a proto-European bastion of European civilization. Very, very psychotic individuals, incredibly dangerous. Remember, in Greece, we had a pogrom in Thessaloniki of the Jewish community, for which there has been no, there's been a cover-up.
By who? By the Nazis?
By the Nazis, but
sure.
They had a lot of collaborators. You see, there was the collaboration, and the a skeleton in the cupboard.
So no. I mean, one of my best friends in Israel, who runs my Peace Institute in Israel, she was from the Thessalonica Jewish diaspora. Her parents escaped. The mother went to Auschwitz. She only survived Auschwitz because she spoke French.
Okay.
And because the Nazis wanted someone that spoke French to liaise with a French engineering company in another part of the camp.
Yeah.
So mum survived Auschwitz, wasn't cremated, met and then escaped after the war overland to Israel, met dad there, who was also a Thessalonica escapee, and via Africa, Miracles, I think spent time in South Africa. And they produced Gila, whose name means joy in Hebrew. And she's one of my closest friends. And we're in dialogue the whole time. And everything I post, she disagrees with. Everything she posts, I disagree with. I'm doing a long-term educational work on her. But her heart is pure.
I'm not in control of the project. I've been asked to be the project manager from the Greek side of things. So little by little, I'll see if I can get the Peace Gardens network integrated. Nassim's works integrated. You will meet Nesma. Her name is Nesma. She's a genius from Gaza. She left Gaza when she was 18 to study law in Greece. She speaks better Greek than me. So little by little, we'll see if we can weave things around and see if we can. Again, I told you, asking some of you, getting some of you to write an article, but paid work, right? This whole idea of asking people not to work as a volunteer, I despise that. So unless I can get it paid, I'm not going to suggest, I'll keep you in
sure.
the loop.
Well, we're volunteers on the committee, but it's nice if we can get some paid work. That'd be great.
All right.
I hear what you're saying. And just as a little bit of academic historical reflection, those that have studied this history of Palestine and know about it know that the Philistines, who gave the name to Palestine, were probably related to the Mycenaean Greeks.
That's right. Yeah.
going back in time, because their pottery of the Philistines was all Mycenaean Greek. So, you know, there's an ancient history of all this that I think would be interesting to untangle. I think Greek archaeologists and historians should be part of this peace process, building peace between Israel, Palestine, you know, and I always argue that the complexity of history is a humbling thing. The oversimplification of history, which is there are these guys, they're good, and there are those guys who are bad, that's where historical research is needed, because we're all a mosaic, we're a patchwork, you know, and that's the path to peace, complexity theory.
And the Phoenicians were part of that patchwork.
Sorry, the Phoenicians were part of it, absolutely. The amazing Lebanese that gave us the alphabet, you know. So let's welcome Inga Mehta. Sorry, you've jumped in at the deep end, Inga Mehta. How are you? And what's your contribution about the Peace Gardens going to be? What have you been up to? A little report back from Norway, I think we can call this.
Oh, yes. Greetings, everyone. I'm sorry I'm late and jumping 1 hour late. So obviously I calculated time wrongly. I was busy working on something else. My concern is really that to combine the work that Thomas is doing with the International Delphic Academy, Startup for Peace, and the Peace Garden. And it comes with a question, how can it be done? And nice to see that Prince Frederick is here as well. He's always been insisting that the role of the City of Roses, Molde, Norway, and where I live, is important. And also my work in Oslo with the Norwegian Center for Consciousness, Oslo Center for Consciousness. In many ways, they're giving up the traditional way of working with public sector in Norway, and also the private sector. So they're coming from a place of consciousness, putting the ground a little bit, the anchor of the ground where we're standing differently. So we're looking at, and Thomas knows it, that we've been looking at a public place outside in the middle of Oslo to have a dome in wooden construction, divine mathematical structure. Yeah. And that is now confirmed that it will be exhibited at as a seed of peace in front of the Grand Palais in Paris, 24th to 27th February in 2026. So that seed of 17 meters structure, public sculpture, 17 meters in divine mathematics. The difference between a zone and a dome is that the zone starts with stars. So it's a star structure inside a dome structure. I can share pictures of it if you like. So this call for peace and Startup for Peace, and to start, what can we launch 21st of September 2025, in 3 weeks. 4 weeks.
Yeah, not much time. Can you tell them about the excellent meeting of the Nobel Peace Center that just took place? I'm assuming you listened to that. You told me about it.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us what that was? A really important meeting, and what was said, who was there, all that stuff?
The Nobel Prize winner this year, 2025, we're celebrating Japan and the work against nuclear weapon and how important that is. So it was the day of memorandum, or what can I say, not to celebrate, but last week it was to put our eyes on the nuclear weapon and Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and how that is so important to have intergenerational memory about nuclear weapons. And what was quite interesting, so they said, so they combine it with climate activists, of young people, together with peace activism, and how that can be done, to have this kind of bridge and to activate the peace culture. And I think this lady from Hawaii, working with the peace parks in Hawaii and the Peace Institute in Hawaii, was brilliant. I really liked her perspective of the peace with nature and biodiversity and the inner nature, outside nature. So please fill me in, Thomas. You know, my brain is so activated on the positive optimism, the what we can do.
I mean, thank you very much. I mean, you are Miss Ecological Peace of Norway. I mean, you've been active in this for 20 years, and you know, I'd love to see that the World Peace Gardens Network can be a vehicle for that, including your links in India and Pakistan and Egypt and you know, all the rest of it. I'm just thinking aloud here. I mean, what we need is a secretary, a paid secretary, to take Pyrrhus's idea. I mean, if we had a paid secretary, I don't care. They could come and live here in France and work with me. We need some funding for that. Why can't we apply to the Norwegian Development Ministry, say, look, we're the World Peace Gardens Network. We need whatever, 30 grand a year, 40 grand a year to pay someone. Could be from any country, but they'd have to have good language skills and secretarial skills to come and, I mean, I'm thinking we ought to be writing to the Hiroshima Peace Park, to the Nagasaki Peace Parks, to the you know, I don't have time. I'm writing full time all the time. We need a secretary. So if you can find me a link who I can ask in the Norwegian, you know, funding agency of the government, I can write a letter. We did already a couple, but this time I'll do it more tailored. What we want is money for a secretarial help, and then we could really take off. You know, yeah.
So, you know, I'd love to have that kind of networking and to work on the Peace Gardens network.
Yeah.
And to really do it. And I can have a base here in Molde, in the City of Roses, Norway. I can work in Oslo. I can work with you in France, and I can visit other places. My life is having that opportunity these days. You know, it's an opening.
Yeah, but you're not a secretary. You're more like me. You're you know, you're a general of the ecological peace movement, and that's a whole different ball game. But let's at least get a secretary that can do.
I have a AI agent.
I've got a workaway. I depend on workaways who come, and I've got one coming in a couple of weeks' time, hopefully. But they only come for 2 weeks and then they go off. So, but well, look, thank you very much for that. Can we hear our new secretary, Sally Dodds? I want to introduce you to the group now. They finally assembled late. Can you just reintroduce yourself? Sally is replacing Sophia, who's gone to the heaven world, sadly. But we love her to bits. And what is just your vision for World Peace Gardens, Sally, and education and so on?
So I'm just hoping that you can hear me. My partner's having a meeting upstairs at the moment.
Hear you fine. Yeah.
He's going to do a channel swim on Thursday, so that's all very exciting. As I said before, I was a Steiner School kindergarten teacher and chair of the Brighton Steiner Early Years for 13 years. And unfortunately, the school closed. So I took on the role of being a forest school teacher, and I'm currently doing the training. I have a little venue in Stammer Park where I run a home-ed forest school. And really, my life now is about educating children, probably the ones who really need education in peace, nature, and aligning themselves with, with the rhythms of the earth. So for me, that's where the work needs to be done. It's in education for the younger generation, so that we can have a positive future. And yeah, I'm just very, very immersed and inspired by working with plants, learning about their symbiotic relationships and medicinal uses and all sorts of wonderful things, all the gifts that they bring to us. And so I'm learning as I go along, as well as educating. So my thoughts are to, you know, at the moment I've got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of projects going on. So in the long term, it would be wonderful to have a peace garden in Brighton, or I'd love to be a part of a peace garden anywhere, really, and be delivering some kind of education, because I think that it's where it's how do I say, when people are aligned with nature, there's an automatic sense of peace. And yeah, if we can bring this to the younger generation and to the elderly as well, actually, and just spread that little ripple of nature-inspired inner peace, it brings a real sense of harmony. So that's kind of why I feel very connected to the World Peace Gardens Network. And like, as Thomas, as you know, I've got a lot going on, and also the house move and all sorts of things. So right now I'm taking a back seat. So I'm here tonight to really get a feeling of what's required and how I can contribute. And yeah, so that's about where I'm at the moment.
Anyway, and Sally is amazing for having brought Sophie's stuff back across the channel. So we owe her a huge debt for that. So look, our treasurer isn't here. Alex Spurway is probably off doing something at Stonehenge. She's very active in the Druid movement. She did come to Sophia's funeral. She's just got back from, I know this, from Vietnam. She's been going to Vietnam, meeting people and learning about the Far East. I did say to her, check on any Buddhist temples that might want a peace garden. I was hoping she'd report back to this meeting, but, you know, Far East Asia loves its gardens, and China's full of them, like perched on inaccessible mountains and things. So let's not forget the Far East. She can be a conduit to that. But in the absence of her, let's move on to final go round, really. Any final points people want to make? I wanted to make the following final point. As a lover of the arts, and this connects with Inga Mehta going on about the Delphic Academy, which I also chair, I think gardens are great for the arts. I think we as the World Peace Garden should be working with artists who are showing work in nature, be it sculpture, be it theatre, be it music. Gardens are places where the arts and the muses should feel at home. And for instance, there's a fantastic guy called Jonathan Kay who runs Fool workshops. He's a Shakespearean actor, and he trains people to be a fool, which is like improvised theatre, basically. And he, you know, this sort of thing, getting theatre in gardens. I've seen Midsummer Night's Dream in several gardens. It's always better performed out of doors. Opera too is amazing when it's out of doors. So can't we marry up the World Peace Gardens Network vision with the arts, with music? And that's where we bring the Delphic Academy in. So I'm just putting that out there. That's a kind of conversation for maybe next meeting, but I'm excited by that thought. And also the other thought I had is festivals are a big thing in Europe and Britain particularly. Every summer, kids go off to the festivals for like 3 months. You never see them at home. Why can't these festivals have a peace garden in them? Why can't some of us, you know, take on the job and like have a pop-up peace garden at Glastonbury Festival or at Boomtown or at Buddhafield or whatever, and get that in the thought world of these festival organizers, because they would be open for it. I mean, most of them have a stone circle. They've got Glastonbury always has a stone circle, and that's an accepted thing now. They have a healing field, but why can't they have a peace garden? Anyway, I'm just saying, I'm just throwing that out there. If anyone wants to catch that ball,
And maybe Sally and I could work together on contacting teachers throughout the United Kingdom. Did you know, Sally, I'm now a member of the NEU?
Oh, are you? Okay.
My criteria to becoming a member of the NEU was because I'm teaching peace education through our peace garden worldwide.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. So
Sorry, what was the acronym you threw at us, Frederick?
National Education Union.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have connections.
Okay.
Well, no, definitely you two should work together on that.
Yeah.
Getting the teachers interested, because I'm a teacher too. We're all trained teachers, a lot of us. Let's recruit teachers to help with the World Peace Gardens Network and organize pop-up peace gardens in the festivals, for instance.
Yeah.
So,
And promote little peace gardens in primary schools and secondary schools and what have you. Children love to work outside on the garden, you know, planting bulbs and stuff, and seeing their flowers grow.
Yeah.
It's the best form of education, you know. It's how indigenous culture, up until the age of 10 or whatever, that's how kids learn. They follow their mum doing the gardening and their dad, and they watch how nature works, and that's how they learn stuff.
Yeah.
It's been like that for the last 60,000 years. Inga Meta,
yes.
your turn.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to share that I've been working with the Globe Tree Initiative in Stockholm, and we have peace garden and a mini small hedge, like stone hedge for children. And I made personally 2 summers back a peace garden and a stone circle for kids. And we had our art workshop where they made the carving in stone themselves.
Sorry, I didn't catch the name of this group in Sweden.
What's
What's it called?
1 minute, I can show the presentation. We're having the peace garden outside the Ethnographic Museum in Stockholm. It's called Globe Tree.
Globe Tree. Okay.
And we have made a stone small, and then the other one is in front of the United Nations office in Nairobi, New Delhi in Nairobi.
Yeah.
And I'm invited there to the celebration of this in November in Kenya. And then we have this in Norway in stone. So we're having a stone circle, and we organized this again for the 50th year celebration of UNEP, United Nations Environmental Program, in Stockholm in 2022. And so we have that. So that cultural trail here in Norway is connected to that children's stone circle.
Which is like a peace garden. Is it still standing there?
Yes, it's standing there. It's the most beautiful thing.
Okay. No, send me don't show it now because the connectivity is not so good. It'll crash our meeting. But send me the PowerPoint or whatever separately by email, okay? And I can share it with people. But that's fascinating. I had a thought also, talking about Scandinavia. I have a friend who comes to my philosophy club from Norway. He was a member of the Norwegian Marine Corps for many years, going around on ships. He retired and became an expert in underwater sea cameras. And his company makes the really detailed cameras that you can go down to like 300 meters and look at stuff. And I was thinking that we should extend our idea of peace gardens to the oceans. There's just been a conference in Nice about the importance of oceans. There are gardens under the sea, full of exotic rare plants. There are coral reefs off Australia, whatever. Let's not forget the sea gardens. Let's have sea gardens under the sea also joining the World Peace Gardens Network, because you know they are not to be forgotten. We're thinking of land ones, but hey, man, the land is catching fire. Let's just remember. So if you can think of, and this guy, I mean, I will talk to him about it. He is an oceanographer who worked with the Norwegian Institute of Marine Sciences way up in the north of Norway, which does all this specialized oceanography stuff. And if I ask him where are the 5 most important sea gardens, he'll probably be able to tell me. And his cameras have probably mapped them all.
Beautiful idea. I sharing this with Cannes Film Festival. I saw the underwater eco museum, Sous-Marine.
Okay. I wasn't, and I think Alex, one of our mutual friends, went to Nice, didn't he, to the French hosted UN conference on the oceans, which put out a declaration about we can't get peace on the planet till we get also peace in the oceans. And that means cleaning up the subs, stopping the nuclear pollution that's going on in the oceans, dumping of nuclear waste. You know, the oceans are part of this peace garden work, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much for that. Carolyn, do you want to share any last thoughts from where you are in London? Is it hot? You'll have to unmute. Sorry, you'll need to get the mute going.
Well, it's a beautiful, beautiful day. The weather has just been glorious here in London. I love it. I'm just listening, and well, I feel peaceful just being here. I don't really have too much to add. I just admire what everyone is doing.
What is your current art project? Are you working on any new stuff at the moment? Exhibitions?
Well, I've got a couple of several exhibitions at the moment. I've got something in the Royal Academy Summer Show, which finishes on the 17th, and I've been enjoying meeting friends just there. It's kind of like a holiday for me to just meet friends.
Right.
The time I'm working, so I was there today at the Royal Academy, just speaking with people and just enjoying just letting the universe arrange the details. You know, I pray. I say, dear God, where would you have me go today? What would you have me do? What would you have me say, and to whom? And then I just feel so delighted to have something in this huge Royal Academy Summer Exhibition, which is such a it's such a feat to get something selected.
Yeah, it's quite impressive. We're very impressed. Yeah. Yeah.
And my work sold the day after the exhibition opened, which made it even more fun.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so my work has a red dot on it, and it's hung at a place where you can see it, not high up on the ceiling. Do you know? It's fantastic. So I am just so thoroughly delighted and enjoying the experience, because who knows when next it will happen, because I have had work in the summer show, but it's been quite a while, and it's a bit of a long shot. So I wear my expectations lightly. This year I got selected. So
yeah, no, congratulations. And do they don't have themes, do they? It's just anything. But do they ever do exhibitions on gardens? I mean,
yes,
in the art world.
Well, interestingly enough, the theme of the room that I'm in has to do with nature. It has to do with nature, and yeah. I'll just pull it up here and tell you what it's. The selector.
Send me a link to your picture. I'd love to see it.
Well, yeah. It's on social media. You can find it on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. Respond to the exhibition theme of dialogues, which was the overall theme of the Royal Academy Summer Exhibition. The person who selected my room, who's a Royal Academician, chose to focus on the relationship between humans and the natural non-human world. Nice. So it's a really interesting piece of curation. It's it is beautifully curated.
Right.
And
that's interesting.
Yeah, so I've got a piece in that. Yeah, that really relates to World Peace Gardens.
Sure. No, it does. You
Yeah.
probably have heard of a guy called Jonathan Porritt, some of you on this call, an
Oh,
ecologist.
yes.
Um,
I illustrated the first Common Ground poster
for Jonathan.
for Jonathan Porritt.
Okay, so he's a Sir Jonathan Porritt.
For
He
Jonathan.
was at the Palestinian protest outside Parliament the other day, and he was one of 500 people arrested. He's a friend of King Charles. I've met both of them. He's an ecologist, you know, a very learned chap. Sir Jonathan Porritt was arrested for holding up a banner saying, like, Palestinians have rights. So this is a big thing that's going on in London, and it's shocking, really, because I think, you know, that those of us that care about the environment also care about people. It's not an either or. We want Palestine to have its own country so that they have their rights. I just found it extraordinary that Jonathan was arrested. Like this is such a stupid idea to ban pro-Palestinian, you know, peaceful demonstrators. They're not like, they were accused of terrorism. But it's fake. I mean, of course, they're not terrorists. And it turns out, I've read that it was an American PR company working for some AIPAC Zionist kind of company that bullied the UK cabinet into making pro-Palestinian activism illegal. And I think we should not, you know, forget that, because it's led to the arrest of some very good people. That's what we're up against, you know, and it's just a misuse of power. If we use art to raise consciousness, we can enter a different world, it seems to me.
Well, freedom of speech is under threat here.
Yeah, and that's not just in Palestine, it's been for years, but or Israel, but also even in Britain. I find it less so in France. France still has we have a written constitution. Freedom of speech is guaranteed under law here. But I think Britain needs a written constitution as well, because otherwise, when the toxic Tories get into power, everything, you know, gets torn up. But hey, right. Any other? We haven't had last words from Pyrrhus. Final thoughts, sir? You'll have to unmute.
I sent to you a summary of the project FREY, from Resistance to European Integration.
Okay.
I put it in the chat, but I've sent to you, Thomas, an email. Please feel free to spread it around.
Okay.
And I'll see if I can somehow integrate and get some of you lot involved. I think you mentioned the IDA, International Delphic Academy.
Yeah.
Remember, we've got that project, and I don't want to put the jinx on it. Yeah. We can, once we get that project going, we can investigate to see how we can integrate the work that we're doing here with the
school
IDA,
curriculum and stuff.
And using gardens as an instrument. You learn so much. I used to work for the London Wildlife Trust in Camley Street Natural Park. And we had every day a class, 2 classes. The children learned an enormous amount.
I know, kids love learning in nature.
So my take from this meeting is that, Nassim, whatever you want from me, you've got it. And if you need any help from me, just, you know, please let me know. Whatever it is that you're doing, this Bethlehem Peace Garden. And I think something that materially we can say as a Peace Garden Network is that whatever Nassim wants, we can support it. There was something I remember you mentioned about Kiev in the Ukraine. We can revisit that discussion again related to Kiev or Moscow. But let's start now with Bethlehem.
Sure.
And I too have been to Bethlehem. So let's take from this meeting a support for this Peace Garden in Bethlehem.
Thank you.
Any initiative that you're doing, Nassim, I think, please let us know and lend my name to it, or whatever it is.
Our name,
Our name.
He's on the team.
It's for peace. We're not into shooting anybody.
Of course
not. Water rights, for example.
It's just a no-brainer, isn't it?
Yeah, we can't have
Yeah.
And remember, the West Bank, half of it is the Judean desert. So it's a pretty, it's another reason
It's a
why
rough
Homestead-
environment to have to
It's
cope
not
with.
easy living
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we should help each other and be compassionate to each other and go
Yeah.
Christ's way of love instead of.
And again, I mean, I have my contacts in Jericho.
Right.
They're getting on a bit long in the tooth now.
We'll
But
see if they're still alive, and,
Yeah.
and if not, bring them back from the dead. Do a Lazarus.
yeah,
on them.
yeah,
It's,
yeah.
it's time to wake people up here.
There you go.
Yeah. Bless you, Pyrrhus. Give our love to Africa.
All right then.
And tell the
Okay.
ladies to grow Dionysus gardens. In the old days, the ladies of Athens would grow on their roof a little potted garden in a pot with like lettuce and things, and it was in honor of Dionysus. Little gardens. You can have it.
I
on
didn't
your-
know. I do that. I'm doing that now.
Right,
So,
so that was
obviously-
part of the cult of Dionysus, who is
Yeah.
the god of nature, who dies and is reborn and comes and gives us the wine.
I
and
didn't
he-
know. Are you sure you're not mixing them up with Pan?
No. The Dionysus gardens were, or Adonis gardens, they were also called, because he's the same god as Adonis, which is the same as Adonai, which is the Hebrew word for the Lord.
God, yes, Lord.
You know,
You know these things better than me. I thought Dionysus was a mischievous god, a little bit sadistic.
oh, not
He's
at
a
all.
Bacchae.
No.
He's Bacchae.
He just likes parties. He's the party god.
Yeah, he's the god of theatre.
Yeah, and precisely theatre. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. Okay.
In
Prince
Delphi,
Frederick,
wait a minute. In
Okay.
Delphi was shared with Apollo.
thank you.
Apollo has Delphi for 9 months,
And
and
Dionysus,
his
the
brother
rest of the time.
Dionysus for 3 months. So he
Yeah.
has a big theatre there.
Yeah.
And you have the Delphi. We're digressing now.
No, not at all. No,
No
if you're
digressing.
interested in the gods, look up my Tarot of the Gods, which I published 2 years ago. It's 1,000 pages.
All right,
and
then.
each card is a god.
Okay.
There's a card to Apollo and one to Dionysus and all the others.
Right.
Okay, final last words from His Lordship, Prince Frederick. You've been,
My last words. Okay.
yeah,
Well, I've listened with fantastic listening to everybody, and I totally concur with what you have all brought to the table today. And yes, let's all wait and hope we will all meet in person at the Peace Museum in France. You can organise that, can you, Thomas?
well, yes, there's in Caen, you mean? I'd love to do that in
Yeah.
Normandy. Yeah. But you can come here, the Peace Museum in Betet.
Yeah.
I can put you all up. It's a big place. You know, you're welcome.
Thank you.
But
Thank
we'll
you.
meet up. You know, my dear friend, Professor James O'Connell, Professor of Peace Studies at the University of Bradford, once started his lecture at the Gandhi Foundation School of Nonviolence by saying, "Hello, dear friends, nice to meet you all again. I hope we meet up before the heaven worlds, but if not, here are my thoughts I'd like to share with you." He died soon after. So all I can say is I'll repeat his words. I hope we do meet up again in 2 months' time. We do meet every 2 months. And if you know someone else that you want to invite, someone that would be excited by what we're doing, who can bring skills to the table, then do let me know. I'm here. And I'll put together some little minutes, but nothing can capture the full beauty of our discourse, I think.
Right.
And welcome to Sally. You've joined our little team now. So, you know, thanks for coming along.
No, thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me. It's a real honor. Thank you.
No, it seems to be a synchronicity organized by the divinities that run our lives, and in honor of Sophia, you know, bring her energy to us. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, people. Look, bless you all. Thanks for coming. See you again on the avenue, as Van Morrison says in his great song, and we'll meet again.
We'll
Okay.
meet again. Okay.
Yeah. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.